Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment.
Sestra-Tainment.
I'm Lenora.
And I'm Dee.
And we're coming to you today in regards to everything entertainment.
Everything that's entertaining.
Yes, entertaining it is. And so I'm going to get started this week in regards to Emmy nominations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the nominations for Emmy Awards for 2022 were announced a little bit earlier this week. And so there have been some great shows, some of which we've talked about, a lot of which we've talked about, that have shown up on the list, one of which I'll be talking about a little bit later today. But so one of the things that stood out as a surprise for Emmys was Squid Game, which is funny to me that it would be a surprise, but they don't usually have non-English speaking shows to be up for an Emmy Award.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what they were saying, is that was just a surprise because, number one, it's the first non-English show to garner nominations in major categories. So non-English speaking, and it's like one of those things you just got to read all the captions.
Show that came out.
It was. So I mean, it makes sense that it would be on the list.
Everybody was doing Squid Game. I feel like people are still now walking around with the Squid Game T-shirt on.
Yeah, no, that's possibly true. Yep. So especially with the symbols.
Yeah, with the symbols.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Succession as a TV show actually led the pack with 25 nominations.
Now, which show is that?
That is on HBO. Succession is the one that has Macaulay Culkin's brother in it. And the whole super rich family and the father who's older and
you
who's
were
going to be
watching
Succession.
That for a while, right?
Yeah, haven't made it past season 1. And I mean, it's supposedly a phenomenal show. It's just an hour long, and it takes a while to commit to so many seasons.
Doing like this, but what us doing like this, like every week, is hard to keep up with, like new stuff and new things to talk about.
Yeah, so that's one of the ones. That is a little bit difficult for me to catch up on, but I want to watch. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed, even the first episode was very powerful. Like it caught my attention, so I just have to fit it in. The other thing is White Lotus. It earned 20 nominations. I wasn't a big fan of White Lotus. That's the one who, oh gosh, now because I'm trying to think of her name, I can't think of it. But the one who was in 911 at the very beginning, the great actress, and then she also was in.
I did watch White Lotus. Okay,
I can't think of what her name is though. Unfortunately,
Jennifer Coolidge.
No, not Jennifer Coolidge. I mean, Jennifer Coolidge is
great
too.
Connie
Britton. That was it. I couldn't think of her first name. Yeah. Connie Britton. So so she's in White Lotus. And that I watched the whole thing.
I liked it. You didn't like it?
It was fine. It felt very, I don't know what the right way to say it is, but it just didn't feel like the rich people just always get away with everything, and the poor people.
To me watching it was like, oh, this is reality of how people actually vacation.
It kind of is, but it's unfortunate, especially for me, with the guy who worked there, and then he ends up being the one out of everything that happened. He's the one that
Yeah, no, but I mean,
it's a reality. I get it.
Yeah, it's the reality. You never know what happens behind closed doors.
There you go.
You watch it. It's basically you watching a show about everybody being at a resort or whatever.
And being their worst.
But it's because you're seeing their worst because they're thinking like nobody's really paying attention.
Right. I'm never going to see these people again.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And then Ted Lasso, totally separate side of that spectrum.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that also received 20 nominations, which is great.
Right.
But I just wanted to take a few moments to talk about some of the main categories just so that people could know some shows and some people who were up for nominations. Okay. So Best Drama Series, Better Call Saul. Amazing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That one is great. Euphoria on HBO. Okay. Ozark on HBO.
Okay.
Severance, which I haven't seen, but it's
Ozark's
on
Netflix.
I'm sorry. Ozark on Netflix. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at it wrong. Severance is on Apple TV.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it.
I haven't talked about it because as soon as it came out, I was like, ooh, I want to watch this because I do like the actors and actresses in it. But then once I started watching it, I was like, I don't really understand what's happening.
Yeah, that's why from the commercials I couldn't understand it.
Go back through.
Maybe. We'll see. Squid Game on Netflix, Stranger Things Netflix, Succession HBO, and Yellow Jackets Showtime. So those are the shows that are up for Best drama.
And those are all the shows that we watch.
Yeah, pretty much everything that we've watched in one way or another. Best Actress in a Drama Series, Jodie Comer for Killing Eve, along with Sandra Oh for Killing Eve. So they could split the vote because if people really like Killing Eve, both of them are up against each other.
But I feel like Sandra has already gotten one for Killing Eve.
I think Jodie did.
Oh, I thought Sandra Oh did.
Maybe they both did.
Maybe, I don't know.
In 2 different years.
4 or 5 seasons of it, so
it's been a while, yeah. So Laura Linney for Ozark, Melanie Linsky, and that's for Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
And Reese Witherspoon for The Morning Show, and Zendaya, I don't know which way she says it, Zendaya, I'll say, Euphoria. Mm-hmm. Then we have Best Actor. Well, let's say, of those actresses, who do you think is going to win?
Laura Linney.
You know, I haven't even seen the last season of Ozark, and I'm probably going to agree with that. I really am.
I'm going to go with Laura Linney.
I think I'm going to go with that too.
I watched the last season. I'm definitely going with Laura Linney.
Okay, got it. Then we have Best Actor in a Drama, and that's Jason Bateman for Ozark, Brian Cox for Succession, Lee Jung-jae for Squid Game, Bob Odenkirk, for Better Call Saul, Adam Scott for Severance, or Jeremy Strong for Succession. Again, 2 Succession people up against each other because that could split the vote.
That was kind of hard because you already know if they bring Squid Games into it, Squid Game's going to win.
I don't know.
But then also you have Jason Bateman. And then who was he up against? Who'd you say he was
Bob
up against?
Odenkirk?
Bob Odenkirk. Yeah, that's a lot.
From Better Call Saul.
See, that one would be tough. See, the women one, I was like, oh yeah, boom. And the one with the women's would have probably been between Zendaya and Laura
Linney. Yeah.
For my top.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jason Bateman or Bob Odenkirk. I just think that the two of them, and they're both in their last season, I believe, of those shows.
Still, I don't know. If they're bringing in some, a foreign film, I feel like they're bringing it in for a reason because there's probably like people who are just like, oh no, we got to do this. But it probably could be just best show, best TV show or whatever.
Yeah,
or series.
Could be. So, best comedy series. We'll move to something a little more lighthearted. Okay. Abbott Elementary on ABC.
Okay.
Barry, HBO.
Ooh.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, HBO.
Ooh.
Hacks, HBO Max.
Gosh.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Amazon, I know that's your favorite. Only Murders in the Building, Hulu. Man. Ted Lasso,
God,
Apple.
I can't pick.
And What We Do in the Shadows, FX. Which that one, I haven't even tried to watch it. No, I've heard a lot of stuff about it. People are just like, yo, have you watched it? And say how funny it is. But I just haven't started watching it because I feel like it's too childish or too It's too corny.
It's too goofy.
It feels goofy and corny to me. I tried to watch an episode or two. Right? I don't remember. I just know it's vampires.
That's
tough.
I'm going to say, you know what? I will say that as much as I love Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, actually, shoot, I don't know.
You're just going to stick with Maisie. Stick with Maisie.
No, because I also love Barry with NoHo Hank.
Oh, yeah. Barry. Yeah. I mean, Henry Winkler, come on. He's amazing. Right? Yeah. So it's going to be, to me, I think it's going to be between Barry, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I might even give it up to Only Murders in the Building. I want to say Ted Lasso, but it's not as quote unquote comedy as some of these other shows.
Heartfelt.
It's a heartfelt show. So,
but everybody thinks comedy because they see Jason Sudeikis and they're just like, oh yeah, it's a comedy. Because that's when I first watched it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. And it's more heartfelt than
it's
hilarious.
It's funny, but it's not.
Right. Mm-hmm. Only Murders in the Building for the nostalgia factor of Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, those three would probably be the top ones that I would say.
That one is good. I don't know. What was the other one that you said?
Oh boy. Okay, so we have Abbott Elementary.
Abbott Elementary. I think that one might actually
might pull it out. Quinta's doing amazing.
Quinta is killing it right now. Oh, and what's her name? Sheryl Lee Ralph.
Sheryl Lee Ralph.
She got nominated.
Yep, she got nominated.
Supporting actress or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she's on the list. That actually, I was getting ready to go into the
shoulda, coulda, woulda. So.
I was going to go into the women who were up for Best Actress in a Comedy. Mm-hmm. Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary.
Absolutely.
Kaylee Kuko for The Flight Attendant.
Okay. I mean,
Elle Fanning for The
Flight
Great.
Attendant is a comedy.
Yeah, I mean it's around. I mean it's like a dramedy.
Yeah,
it's a dramedy.
It's more
a dramedy.
drama.
It has some funny moments in there. Yeah. Elle Fanning for The Great, which I didn't think that was a comedy.
No, that is a comedy.
It is? Oh.
That is hilarious too.
Who knew? Okay.
Yeah, I watched it. I talked about it before.
Yeah, you talked about it.
But yeah, that one is a comedy, and I don't think it would. I don't think it would win.
All right. Issa Rae for Insecure and Jean Smart for Hacks, which I could see Jean Smart sweeping the whole thing. Only because of the fact it's Jean Smart.
Yeah,
exactly. She's amazing for designing women.
But then also you got to think about it with Insecure.
It was last season.
It was his last season, and like
Issa has done an amazing job,
and it's been like sweeping it. And then also even with Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, it's about to be in its last season.
Yeah. So.
Rachel Brosnahan is like killing it. So,
but she has another chance. So maybe they'll give it to somebody else because she has another chance. So.
I don't know.
And then we have Best Actor in a Comedy Series, Donald Glover for Atlanta.
Absolutely.
We just talked about that. Bill Hader, Barry.
See, yeah, that's my boy.
Mm-hmm. Nicholas Hoult for The Great.
Okay, all right.
Steve Martin, Only Murders in the Building. Okay. Martin Short, Only Murders in the Building. And Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso.
See, these are hard. I feel like this is probably going to be maybe I would watch these Emmys because it's all shows and movies and stuff that I've actually seen. And
you feel invested.
I'm invested. Who's going to win?
Exactly.
But I mean, usually before it's just like they put stuff on there, and I'm just like, that just came out in like one theater in America?
Like, right. Sometimes they fit those things in there.
But I thought that Parasite was one of the movies that won an Emmy, but I guess not.
It won an Oscar. Yeah, it won an Oscar. So yeah, and it was amazing. Because it's more of the difference between movies on movie theaters versus television. Yeah. So then I'm going to go through something really quick. The best limited or anthology series. So that's Dope Sick, The Dropout, Inventing Anna, Pam and Tommy, and White Lotus. Now I think
White Lotus.
Yeah, because it was just a short one-time thing. It's not going to be like ongoing.
But I feel like the other ones were like
more important,
like actual things that had happened. Yeah,
like Dope I guess it didn't have to be. Real. It said limited series or anthology. Okay. So, and I think Inventing Anna. I'm going to stick my.
Yeah,
The Dropout was good too.
Yeah. Everybody, but see, that's the thing was between those two. Is the one that everybody was talking about. Everybody was doing the fake voice of the lady from Drop Sick. Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about the fake voice from Drop. Oh, I thought you were talking about Inventing Anna. No. With her weird, strange.
What's it called?
You're talking about from the Dropout.
Dropout when everybody's doing the deep voice. Yeah, everybody was doing that, and then everybody was doing the Inventing Anna. What do you have on? Like, what are you even wearing?
Yeah, what you wearing is up.
Yeah. So like, it's. I think it's gonna be between them two.
Okay, all right, and then the last thing I'll go over is just the best television movie. And to me, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should stick with talk series because it's not even that great for movies. But movies was Chip and Dale, Ray Donovan, the movie, which I didn't even know was a thing.
I didn't even
Reno 911, The Hunt for QAnon, and then Survivor.
I started to watch that.
The Survivor and Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas. So those television movies,
those ones, I can
maybe not so much.
I can do without those.
But your best variety sketch series, Black Lady Sketch Show, and Saturday Night Live. Those are the only two in those categories.
Well, because that's the only two sketch shows out there right now, right?
Yeah, probably so. But who do you think will win?
SNL.
I think so too. Yeah. But all right. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to talk through. Just some of the great things that are great shows, programming. I mean, us being Sestra-Tainment, a lot of these, if you've been listening to us over the last months, you've heard us talk about a lot of these. There's a lot of great actors and actresses who are on the list to get awards, and some of them could walk away with multiples, and some shows could walk away like they're up for 20, 25 awards.
Yeah, because I feel like Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, when it first came out, they got like 23 Emmys.
Yeah, they
how you get 23 in your one show?
Yeah, we're super. Well, Ted Lasso and White Lotus are up for 20 just right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then Succession has 25.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
it's
they
just
could walk
like
away
if you
with
win
them
it or
all.
not, if you win all of it or not.
And it looks like they are going to be on. It is not. So September 12th.
Okay. All right. So we got
September 12th. So we got a little bit of time before we want to watch those. But all right. So what do you have next, sis?
All right. So what I have, I just want to go over a quick one. All right, so it's called God's Favorite Idiot. Okay. It's on Netflix. Okay, look, I just want to.
You're just breathing all hard already.
Melissa McCarthy, if you are out there listening, okay, I love you. You're awesome. You are my celebrity best friend. You don't know it, but I know it. Okay. So just want to talk about this. You're my homie. Okay. But the show is not doing it for me.
Oh.
It's not. But so far, I'm struggling with it. I'm only on I'm only on the third episode. Okay. So, but I'm struggling to get through these quick episodes though. So, I keep going back because I want it to be good and I want it to be successful. Yeah. Because it is Melissa McCarthy.
Exactly. You're homie.
It's her and her husband together on the show. Gotcha. And they're the lead people. So I'm like, I want this to be successful, but here, I'll give you what the storyline is. Okay. Excuse me. So the storyline is there's a mid-level tech support guy. He's like one of the employees that does tech support. His name is Chuck, right? Yeah. Now, Chuck is I'm sorry, I said Chuck Clark. My bad. His name's Clark. All right, so Clark, he is starting to like this girl that he works with named Emily, not Emily. Emily. She took away the E and replaced it with an A so she could be different than everyone else. Anyway, back to what I was saying. But he's like starting to fall for her, and right when he's starting to like ask her on a date, you start to get all this confidence. Mm-hmm. He also gets these superpowers to where he is now the messenger of God. Okay. Yeah. I don't.
Random messenger of God.
Yeah, like he glows.
And who plays that character?
It's actually excuse me. It is actually Melissa McCarthy's husband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and his last name is Falcone. What's his name? Ben Falcone. Yeah. Okay. All right, so Melissa McCarthy plays Emily. He plays Clark. Oh, okay. There's some other people on this show that you kind of know, but you really don't know. You've seen them on some other stuff. The main one that you might remember is Kevin Dunn. You probably know him from like a whole bunch of stuff like in the 90s. Like he did some Transformer stuff. He did League of Their Own. He was in that. Like he's been in a couple of things, but he hasn't been, he's that guy.
He's that guy in that movie.
Yeah, that's exactly.
He's been in Veep. Oh yeah, he was great in Veep. For anybody who had watched Veep.
Yeah, so you know him, but you can't really recall his name. So, but with this show, I mean, it's like he's God's messenger. He's also, it's like there's going to be a lake of fire in it. There's like an apocalypse. The devil is coming and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, wait, this is not what I was expecting when I saw Melissa McCarthy, right? Doing the show. But it's so much happening in the show. And, well, not really. I just wanted to kind of say it because I feel some type of way about it. But, but I do have mixed emotions. I am going to go back and I'm going to try. I'm going to try to watch it, because it seems like how I can explain it is it seems like it's a show that somebody wrote when they were like really young. Like I would say like senior in high school.
Okay.
And then Once they got older, they got money, and they were just like, "Yo, I can make my show now,
my movie or my show." Yeah,
I feel like that's what this is, because how it's some funny stuff. Like Melissa McCarthy, she's a funny person naturally, so it's like some funny stuff in there, but then it's also kind of like that was corny. Yeah. Like that sounds like a kid could have wrote that, and I guess it's kind of be like a family type show. It's kind of, I guess it's like I don't know. Do you remember the TV show Seven Heaven?
Yeah.
Just think Seven Heaven when they're talking about, all the goodness of the Lord and everything in that show, but they're going through some other stuff. It's kind of like that, where it's like heartfelt, funny-ish, but then it's like, what is even happening? How did this happen? Because it's kind of like sci-fi.
Okay, yeah.
So so Ben Falcone he goes outside and this light beam hits him. Now he can glow, and Harry Styles' song keeps playing. That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. I don't understand.
And what's the name of it again?
It's called God's Favorite Idiot.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It is. I can't explain it, but I'm gonna try.
Okay.
I'm gonna try.
You're committed to her.
Because I know it's just I know it's all about the end of the world, and this one guy, he has to be himself while going through and being like a Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and telling everybody about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Right.
So
right now it looks like only 50% of people actually like it.
Yeah. So, or probably finished it, because it's all right. So it came out a while ago, and I'm struggling. I'm struggling.
Well, can I tell you that your theory may be correct, because Ben Falcone is who created this.
Oh, so yeah, he wrote it.
So let's think of it that he, in his younger youth, thought of this, wanted to do it. Now he and his wife are famous enough and have enough money to make his childhood dream come true, and she's just in it to support him.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what support my
That's
man.
exactly what I was thinking when I was like writing all this stuff down. I was like, I'm pretty sure that this is like her husband's like dream project, the thing that he wanted to do the most. Like something that he was like, when I get older, I'm gonna do this. And now he's like, I have this money,
and she has
my wife has this money, and she's just like, and he's probably like, hey, I'm gonna take this person who I'm in love with in the show and change it to a funny person, so that my wife can go ahead and play opposite me. Yeah, I mean, but what what I found is so cute. What? Which I need to look out some research in this. He is in every one of her movies.
Yeah, almost. I don't know if it's everyone, but
all of her comedy movies. Every movie she started.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I know he's in a lot of them. Yeah, for sure.
He was the U.S. Marshal on Bridesmaids.
But see, that's where I'm wondering if he feels like, okay, I'm your second wheel.
No, I think
me to be the first wheel.
I think that he actually might be like a producer or something like that. I can't remember something.
Yeah, he does. He's a writer, producer, things like that. But I'm saying in the movies, she's always the star, and he's always like a cameo.
Yeah.
So maybe this is his opportunity to be the star with her needing to be a bigger cameo, because she needs to be, there for the star power, maybe.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's just a thought.
I mean, but if you're opposites, then just be opposites, Like, I don't know. That's just me. I'm like, never mind. I'm just saying, like, if you know that your significant other is the funny, hilarious one, don't be butthurt because you're not the funny, hilarious one.
Yeah, and I can't say that he is. I just think he wants to have his own project to stand out as well, and this was his dream
then they should
to have
stop
this project.
Doing projects together. If you want to stand out, he could have got somebody else to, play his wife.
Yeah, but I mean, first one out the gate. Well, I don't even know if this is the first one out the gate, but one of the first ones out the gate. Then maybe he did want her to be there. Maybe she wanted to collaborate with him.
Maybe
it's the next ones after this. He might be on his own.
It could even be hers, and he's just like, yeah, babe, whatever you want to do. That's cool.
It says on Wikipedia that it was created by him.
Okay,
not him and her, just him. So who knows? But anyway,
but it's
you're giving it a go.
I'm trying.
Okay,
I'm trying. Not saying anybody else has to try.
Yeah. But
I'm just saying, I'm trying very, very, very hard.
Because of Melissa. See, that's what he knows, is that if she wasn't in it, people wouldn't even try.
Yeah, but it's just weird. I mean, like, there's some little quirky stuff, like, like I said, like Harry Styles' song keeps playing, and he happens to make Harry Styles' song play. But I think it's because he's in love with her in the show, and every time he's around her and they're doing stuff, he play like the song. He thinks
song
it makes
mind,
it's in his mind. But it's So just want to go ahead and say that. Go ahead and watch God's Favorite Idiot on Netflix if you want, or don't.
Or not. Whatever floats your boat.
Whatever
right?
floats your boat. I'm gonna say right now, I'm not really feeling it, but I'm trying.
You're trying. That's all we can ask.
That's all I can do. That's all I can do.
All you can do is try.
All I can do is try.
All right,
so what do you got next?
I have the TV show on HBO Max called Hacks.
Hacks.
Yeah, since I started with the theme of the Emmy Awards, I felt like I would just talk about shows that are up for an Emmy Award. So Hacks, Jean Smart plays in Hacks. Everybody knows Jean Smart.
I love her too.
I hope everybody knows Jean Smart. She is amazing. She first time I saw her was in Designing Women.
Oh, she was in Designing Women? Wow.
Oh my gosh, she was so amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I loved her in there. She was just Southern, Belle.
It was her and Delta Burke, right?
Delta Burke,
and, who was the black guy's name?
Dixie Carter and Ezekiel, somebody of another, I think was his name.
Wow. Yeah.
But anyway, loved that. And Annie Potts, like everybody. It was so amazing in regards to Designing Women.
Yeah.
So I also had recently seen her on some of the more recent Fargos. So with Fargo, she was playing in there. She was amazing. A little fearful of her, but amazing. And so now she has her own show called Hacks. It is a great show where she plays Deborah Vance, who is a stand-up comedian who has been in the business for like years, like 20 plus years, and is in Vegas on the Strip, has her own like big billboards and signage and stuff about come see Deborah Vance's comedy show, kind of thing. She's had over 2,500 shows that she's done while she's been on the Vegas Strip. She's extremely successful, has a huge mansion that she lives in. Private jets, fur coats, selling products on QVC. Like, she's just living the life, but you can also see probably within the first 10 minutes that she's also a little lonely. Like, she's in her house, it's just her and her cat, or whatever, maybe a dog, I can't remember. She does have some folks that work around her. So like she has an assistant, so to speak, and he kind of supports and helps her out and makes sure she's, on track with everything. And the problem is that the casinos that she's working in, they're trying to bring in pentatonics. They're just like, you know what?
Oh, those are the little acapella group, right?
Yep, exactly. And so they're like, look, they're going to make more money than you, whatever. So you're going to have to move you to some other nights other than Friday, Saturday, Sundays. You got to move to some other nights. Of course, she goes ballistic because she's like, who do you think I am? The guy tried to say it to her in a restaurant thinking that it would calm her down and not have her pitch a fit.
Yeah, but he don't know her, though.
No, and she went bananas and then told everybody he's going to comp your lunch. So, it's just like, because he owned the resort. And so basically what ends up happening is that she trying to figure out how she's going to make her, her stand still to stay relevant. The guy, they're playing like this tug of war. So he decides, I'll make her comedy show a part of a buffet. Like she'll just be like while people are clinking around with their eating, and she's in the, so she gets mad at that. She ends up telling him things that she's going to do to make his life miserable. So long story short, an agent of hers decides that they're going to bring on board a young comedy writer who is a little risque, got fired from their last job for being a little too risque. And so therefore she's, not wanting to work with somebody else. She writes her own stuff. But this girl is like, look, I need a job. I'm going to lose my house. Like, I need something, So therefore the two of them meet. Not a great meeting at all. Both of them are extremely snarky to each other. Okay. And she so Deborah Vance is like, well, what got you fired in the first place? And the girl's almost like, well, what got your husband to leave you for your sister? So it's like, okay, like there's some history.
So you come for me, I'll come for you.
Right, exactly. So what ends up happening is this girl is like saying the terrible joke that she, had made, in regards to some senator and how he was upset at his son being gay, but yet he's closeted. And so she was just saying like, whatever it was her joke about this guy, and it got her fired because it's all alleged. It's not
allegedly.
Exactly. So then, Deborah Vance is like, all right, just get out my house, whatever, you're not good, whatever. So then all of a sudden, Deborah Vance like follows her down the road. And she's like, wait a minute, why is she following me towards the gate of her house? Like, what is going on? She's in her Bentley or Rolls Royce or something, like following this girl. And she was like, no, your joke, it's missing something. That's what it was. Like, it was a crap joke. So you shouldn't have said like, what was it? Like
worded it differently.
He's been in the closet so long, he's got mothballs coming out, or he's been in the closet so long, whatever. So he was like, you're not as bad as I thought you were as a comedian, but at the same time, I don't know if your delivery and if it would have worked for me. So anyway, she told her she was hired and they were going to work together. And that's where all the fun ensues, basically, for the two of them. So it's a really funny show. I
do like it a lot.
Liked it. And so, she's just, it's insane. So let me go through some of the cast just so you all know. Of course, I already mentioned that Deborah Vance is Jean Smart. Hannah Einbender is Ava Daniels, and that's the young person who's going to come in and help her to write some comedy. Okay. There's a lot that happens between the two of them in regards to this whole process, to the point that one time Ava leaves this scathing voicemail on Deborah's voicemail, and then she's like trying everything in her power to make sure that she doesn't hear it. Oh my gosh, so that's kind of hilarious. You have Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, who plays her daughter DJ. So I think she's Deborah Vance Jr. So that's why they call her DJ. But basically, she's just somebody who comes around.
She's the main girl from It's Always Sunny. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. So she's Deborah Vance's daughter, and she's just always around for money and asking her mom when she's can get her inheritance and like all that kind of stuff. So what typical rich kids do. Another person I thought is really funny is Kiki, who is Poppy Liu. It plays Kiki. And so the funny thing is Deborah Vance, because she lives in Vegas, she's so popular, she can't just go to the casinos.
Yeah.
So Poppy, or Kiki, I guess, comes to her house and sets up like blackjack tables, and she'll play. And like, that's one of her best friends, so to speak. So she's
that's
like,
horrible.
Oh, girl, what's going on with you? How are things with the whatever? How's your dog? Blah, blah, blah.
But that's horrible that you can't even go out in public, that you have to like have someone come to your house and
she
play
comes to her house,
with you, or
sets up the table, plays blackjack, they talk girl talk, so of course Ava's watching all this happen, and Ava caught a ride with Kiki, and she was like, is this your car? And she was like, yeah. Every time that Deborah gets a new Rolls, she gives me her old Rolls. So she's riding around in a Rolls Royce like this young girl, with crop top on, just living her life and getting all of the hand-me-downs from Deborah Vance, basically, because she's like a friend to her. So anyway, it's a really cute show. Definitely profanity, I will say that. So it's not like a family show.
It's an HBO show. HBO has 0 Fs to give.
Yeah, so they do actually, have some curse. So it's not a family show, but it's definitely a fun show to watch that just shows you. It's just excess. I mean, that's the only way to describe it. It's like at one point, she's like, oh, my car broke down. Let me call a friend so I can get a ride. And a helicopter comes and picks her up in the desert and takes her to her comedy show, and she's just like, yeah, I got a ride. So, it's lavish, but it's fun to watch. So that's what I had to talk about. Hacks on HBO Max.
All right. Yeah. So I want to talk about, I mentioned this before, like, they keep doing remakes of movies into TV shows and vice versa.
Yep.
So this one that I'm going to talk about is The Time Traveler's Wife.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Okay, so it was like a book that came out in like 19-something. I can't remember when it was, like 1990, something like that. Then the movie came out in 2003, and that had Rachel McAdams and what's his name? David. Is it not David? The guy who played the Hulk. What is his name? Oh my God,
David Banner.
I know that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
God, I can't think of his name to save my life.
I'll look it up while you're talking
anyway,
about
all right, so yeah. So anyway. So that was like the first movie, and then they actually took the movie and just took like the information that you did not get from the movie, that you're not missing from the movie.
Eric Bana.
I knew it was something with a band or something.
Eric
I was about to say David Banner, but then that's no. But yes, so it is the story of the time traveler's wife. So the movie is called The Time Traveler's Wife, and it's kind of like, you get some hit or miss stuff about what's happening with her while he's going through all of this.
Okay.
Because she's already married to him. No. This one right here, all right, so how it starts off, well, here, let me tell you the cast. All right, so the cast is a great cast. You got Rose Leslie, who played on Game of Thrones. She was married to Jon Snow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The King in the North.
King of the North. Well, he wasn't the King in the North.
Well, he wasn't the king, but yeah. But then you have Theo James, who I think he's another British actor. He's played on a bunch of stuff, but he, like, y'all would know him, be like, oh yeah, that guy who played in that movie. He played in Divergent. He was like the other Divergent guy who was one of the lead actors or whatever, who was supposed to be like on both sides, I guess, in Divergent. He played in How It Ends, and that one was really good when he was with what's his name, Forrest Whitaker. He's supposed to be marrying his daughter, and then it's supposed to be like the apocalypse, and they're just trying to get to his daughter, so that's good. But you've seen him on some other stuff. He was on White Lotus too, but you've seen him on some other stuff. So it's basically the story about them. Now, how it comes about is, so it's how, like, the main question that they ask on this is supposed to be like them doing kind of like a video documentary thing about how, I guess it's just about their life. So there was a question that was like, it's a normal question to everyone else, but to them it's going to be complicated. And it says, when did you all first meet? Now you have to think about it this way. With a time traveler, he's like, which time when I first met her, when she was this age, or when I first met her when blah blah blah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then for her, she just has the first time, and then you come to find out, if you have not watched the movie, like, it's spoiler alert, but anyway, come to find out with the show, he meets her when she is like 5-6 years old. And then, like, he's a grown man. He's like in his 40s. So, like, he's now grooming her to be his wife, because he's from the future and he knows that she's his wife. And he's just like, he doesn't want to tell her, we're married. The little girl asks a bunch of questions, and he's like, yeah, what's your name? Your name is Claire. Okay, my wife's name is Claire. She's like, oh my God, it's awesome. And then as the girl, that she starts to get older, she was like, don't you think it's kind of funny that, like, your name is Claire, your wife's name is Claire, and my name is Claire? And he's like, we're not married in the future. And then, like, the little girl.
So he's not grooming her. Well, he's grooming her, but is it creepy?
So that's the thing. It's kind of like, he's not being creepy towards her. He treats her like a child. He treats her like as if it was his daughter.
Right.
But then it's creepy just because, like, once she hits 18, then it's like, that's all out the window now. Right. Because now you see her as your wife, but you just saw her before.
Yeah, you've seen her whole life.
Yeah, you've seen her.
You knew something she didn't know all this time leading up to her being your wife. So she was legitimately his wife without him grooming her.
Yes.
So then why did he feel the need to groom her?
Because that's the whole thing, time travel. So with time travel, it's like, there's no forwards and backwards. It's just all over the place. There's no actual like, timeline.
So he's thinking that he could potentially miss the opportunity of her being his wife with all the time jumping.
Well, no, not miss the opportunity, but to him, it's just like, he's not going to say anything to change it, because, then you get that kind of like butterfly effect. Yeah. Where it's like, if you change one thing, it's going to alter all
everything.
So he's like, if I know that I have met her before and we're in this position, so now it's like, he's now thinking to himself, okay, I can't tell her anything that's going to change what ends up happening of us being together. So he doesn't tell her anything about the future. And he said, that's my one rule. I don't say anything. You don't know anything. Yeah. So he's not really, like, grooming her to be his wife. He's actually just grooming her to, like, help him out, actually, with balancing throughout time.
Okay,
It's like,
gotcha.
and kind of like how to say it. But at first I thought it was gonna be like a waste of time because I've seen the movie and like I'm like, oh, this is just gonna be like dumb. But then when I watched it, I was like, yo, I'm actually into this because it is the story about the wife and not the actual time traveler.
Yeah.
So
that's why it's called.
And then
wife,
the way that they're doing this show, it bounces around so much. You kind of like have to pause and be like, wait, hold on, what year is this?
Yeah, what time is it?
And when is he? Because it's like not where, like, what time did he come from? Because you'll see her, she will be 6 years old, and then she meets 42-year-old guy, and then she meets the Henry, 42-year-old Henry, and then the next time when she's 7 years old, she might meet 36-year-old Henry.
Oh, gotcha.
And then when she's 15 years old, she might meet 70-year-old Henry. It's like,
is it all the same character, the same guy?
Yeah, same guy,
all
same
different
guy.
ages.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha. So that doesn't make it a little easier because sometimes if you have the younger version or the older, it's like This Is Us, Oh
yeah.
The littler ones, you're like, oh, that's that year.
But see,
it
is like that with the wife, just because of the fact that she is.
She has to.
It's her whole life. Yeah, it's her whole life. And with him, he's only jumping through time. Within, I think it's like maybe 20 years that he's actually jumping back and forth through time.
Okay, just keeping an eye on her.
Yeah, but not even keeping an eye on her. He doesn't even know why he's there. It's just like,
oh, but now that I'm here and I see her, now I'm gonna,
the universe just so happens to make it happen that this woman that you're marrying is actually this little girl that you're about to go and like the first time you time travel, like step up in here into this.
Got it.
And
interesting.
It does give you a little bit more insight about the life of Henry as a time traveler, which is kind of cool because I don't even remember that being in the movie and stuff like that, and how he gets his wife to be able to talk to his mother through a tape recorder. That was amazing. Like, I would have never thought about that. If I could time travel, I would not think, you know what? If I want my future wife to be able to talk to my mother who's passed away, how can I do that? I need to do...
Yeah.
What?
Who thinks like that? Yeah.
Who thinks that way? But that was really deep. I do like the show. It's like 6 episodes, and I think it might be 8 episodes total for it.
Okay.
But I'm already in like episode 6, and I'm really like stuck into this. Like, I'll be watching it and I'll be falling asleep, and I will literally turn it off and put on something else in the background for white noise, so I don't miss anything. And I was like, this is really something that I thought was not going to be that good, but now it really is.
Okay.
So yeah, check that out. Time Traveler's Wife, and it is on HBO.
All right, great.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing that I have to talk about, and I alluded to this earlier, was Ted Lasso for 20 Emmy nominations and awards. So
boy,
he is amazing. So this show, can I just say, and I think we've talked about it in sidebar conversation, but it is the most wonderful, heartfelt, sweet, kind, loving, what we need post-pandemic show I have ever watched in my life. It's just a feel-good show. There is nothing, and every single person, and it's probably been 10 that I have ever told, hey, you should watch Ted Lasso. Love it. There's no way you can watch it and not like it. Fall in love with the show, fall in love with Ted, fall in love with the characters, even the bad ones. You just fall in love with everybody.
Fall in love with them, yeah.
So the story of Ted Lasso is that he's an American college football coach, right? And so he ends up on ESPN because after they win a championship or something like that, he ends up dancing in the locker room. And I mean, he's doing the running man.
Yeah. But which is so funny because he actually can dance. Jason Sudeikis can dance because he's done it on SNL.
Yes. So when you think of What's Up With That? What's Up With That from Saturday Night Live, if you've ever watched it. If you haven't, just Google
YouTube
YouTube, What's Up With That, and see him in the background in the red tracksuit.
Yeah, just dancing with his little fro.
It brings you joy.
And then he gets off the stage, he walks down and
his
turns.
Walk off. Yeah. So anyway, so as part of this show, you see him, and he's just doing the running man. Yeah. He's dancing. He's doing everything you can think of, and it's amazing. And so he becomes viral because of that. So what happens is this Premier League English soccer, quote unquote, football team finds out about him, AFC Richmond, and they actually invite him to be the head coach of their soccer team. Now, mind you, he knows absolutely nothing about soccer. He's learning about soccer as he is flying to England.
He's studying.
He's studying with his partner, Coach Beard, which is funny because he has a big, huge beard. Yeah.
So, which is a coach that he brought with him as well, right?
Right. So he brought this coach with him from America because they were both coaches in America. So he brought him from America over there to London, and they're both going to be coaching in the Premier League. And so the team's owner, who is Rebecca Welton, and I'll go through the cast in a moment, she hires him, but she's really hiring him with the hope that he's not going to do well. And this comes out in the first episode, where she's just like, I want him to fail because I'm going through a divorce. My husband's favorite thing in this world is this team, and I got it in the divorce. So therefore, I'm going to make sure it just burns to the ground. Yeah. And having an American football coach try to teach.
Because, everybody thinks that we're all dumb. I mean, we like I said before, we are the Florida of the world.
Well, I don't know if in this case she thinks that we're dumb as much as it is that she feels like we can really... if you have somebody who's coaching that does not know anything about the sport, has never played soccer, doesn't know much about soccer, would have to learn, it's not, field goal. I mean, well, I guess it is a field goal, a goalie and all these little terms and what everything means. It's like me watching soccer. I have no idea what I'm looking at when I watch it. I've been to a soccer game, had no clue what I was looking at.
Yeah, you just waiting for the ball to get into the net.
That's exactly. So, it's like cleats aren't called cleats. When it goes out of bounds, it's not called out of bounds. Yeah. Like there's just different terminology for everything. And so she being upset that he was unfaithful to her and that this is his baby, she just wants to burn it to the ground because it'll bring pain to him. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Ted Lasso doesn't know that. Yeah. Only she and her partner Higgins know her real plan. And so let's go into some of the cast of characters. So you do have Jason Sudeikis, and he plays Ted Lasso. So he's amazing at that. I mean, when I tell you he is like everybody's best buddy, he's so sweet, he's so kind, he just has that little country accent. Yeah. And he was just like,
I can do whatever I need to do for you.
Yes, exactly. And then he brings her every day little like cookies, like little cookies, because he knows, biscuits, because in England they do the biscuits with the tea. He says tea tastes like dirty water, so he hates tea. He doesn't know why they like tea so much in London, so he doesn't drink that. But he actually brings her biscuits every morning, and she hates them, but she loves those biscuits. So she's just like, oh my gosh, these are so good. Where did you get these? Higgins, figure out where he got these, whatever. And then I won't even spoil where he gets them from, but it's amazing as to, just how much time and energy and thought he puts into that. But so that's Jason Sudeikis. The boss is Rebecca, and that's played by Hannah Waddingham, and she is amazing at playing like an evil genius.
She got some.
She got an Emmy Award, I believe, for this role. You have the veteran on the soccer team, Brent Goldstein, who plays Roy Kent.
And he plays it so well.
He plays it so well because he's just an angry person.
Yeah, he's just an angry person.
And you'll just say, hey, Roy. And he's like, like, that's all you get from him.
Oi!
Yeah, he's just like
yelling at people.
And I will say, this is not a family show in regards to the cursing part. The feel-goodness, absolutely, but the cursing, maybe not so much. So then you have Keely Jones, who's played by Juno Temple. She's amazing. She starts off as a girlfriend of one of the players, but then over time even becomes like the media person.
Yeah, media person, and then like the best friend of the owner.
And the best friend of the owner, Rebecca. You have Coach Beard, played by Brendan Hunt. You have Jamie Tart, who is Phil Dunster. Mm-hmm. You have Nathan, which is funny, by Nick Mohammed. Nathan's character is just a quiet, timid guy. He's just like, I don't think I should say anything. I don't know if I should. And all the players pick on him and pick him up and throw him into the dirty clothes hamper and all this kind of stuff. But then Ted Lasso, being Ted Lasso and sees the best in everybody, makes Nate as assistant coach. And that gains him some respect. Yeah. But in season 2,
yeah,
it's kind of like you have to figure out.
It goes to his head.
Yeah, it might go to his head a little bit, and he does some things that you would have never thought that the Nathan from season 1 would have done. But you have Jeremy Swift, who's playing Higgins, so he's amazing. And even in season 2, you have Sarah Niles, played by Sarah Niles is Dr. Sarah Fieldstein, so she's playing in the show, which I like the fact that they don't just have diversity on the team now; they actually have diversity in the whole show. Yeah, because at first the team was very diverse, but those other main leading characters,
were not,
slightly, but not very. What trips me out is Trent Krim.
Well, I think the diversity was because it's Americans and English. That was that diversity.
There you go. Yeah, well, it's people from all over the world because you have Nigeria, you have French, you have the team is made up from a lot of diversity. So I guess
football is life. Where was he from? Ecuador,
Danny,
El Salvador,
Danny Rojas from Crystal. Oh, I think he was from Guadalajara. Guadalajara, yeah, because I'm remembering that from the Christmas episode. But you have James Lance, who plays Trent Krim, the Independent. Yeah. So every time they're in the room and you have the questions that can go to the coach.
Yeah, when you have the press conference.
Yeah, the press conference. He says, "Okay, Trent, question from you." He's like, he stands up. Yeah. I'm Trent Krim from the Independent. And at one point in one episode, he stands up, Trent Krim, everybody else from the Independent. Because, it's like, we already know, dude. But yeah, and then Rebecca's husband is played by Rupert Mannion, who is...
I might have seen him on a couple of things before, but...
Yeah, Anthony Head is his name. So, but he is great at playing a jerk. He is amazing at playing a jerk who's just like rubbing everything in her face, like, oh, you didn't know I bought the partnership from the ladies who were the twins, and so now we'll be sitting in the club box together watching the game. And she's just like, oh my gosh. And then, of course, Ted Lasso being Ted, coming to her rescue, does something amazing to kind of make sure that doesn't happen.
Basically, what Ted Lasso is doing is bringing everybody together.
He does. He brings everybody together. He's super kind, super sweet. And even when he's trying to do things, you feel for him because he's trying to do his best, but yet he's going through problems in his marriage. And he's not there for his son because his son's in America, So you're just like feeling for him because you're like, look, this is a guy who's just trying to do his best, trying to make people happy. And yet it just goes to show that nice guys don't always finish first. Yeah. And that, you can still be a good person, have some interesting scenarios kind of take place that could be terrible for you in a way. Like people were trying to do things to sabotage him. And yet, you could still, for the most part, come out on top just because you're a good person. So I just feel like it's the most feel-good show. I actually paused from waiting or watching season 2 because I just didn't want it to be over. So that's where I was like, but now I'm back into watching season 2, so I'm going to finish that out probably this weekend, and then be ready for whenever season 3 comes out, because with these kind of Emmy nominations, it'll probably happen.
So. Oh, I'm positive. Yep. I'm positive it's going to happen.
All right, and your last one, sis?
All right, so my last one, it's actually really deep. It's sad. Sorry to make it go down to a dark place. No, okay. But so I was looking at social media, and actually on CBS, on their TikTok. Okay. They just had a video of some news, and so I'll break down what the story is. So there are, in the video, if you look at it, there are 52 school buses that are part of a convoy that's on the way. They're in Texas, and they're on the way to Ted Cruz's office.
Oh, okay.
And now with these buses, these are like, regular school buses, but there are no children in the school buses. Okay. And the school buses would hold over 4,000 children because there's 52 of them.
Oh, wow. How is that? I don't know that math, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long a school bus is, but you got to think about it. You can sit like 2 kids per seat in a school bus. Yeah, so. Or even if it's younger kids, you might be able to fit 3. Yeah. But there's no kids on the bus, only some of their belongings.
Because all these kids were shot.
Yes, because these are kids who have been murdered from gun violence.
Oh, that's so sad.
So the convoy is called the NRA Children's Museum.
Wow.
Yes. That's a deep name. That's a deep name. Okay. And it was created by an anti-gun violence group called Change the Ref.
Okay.
I guess it's like Change the Reference or whatever. Now, it was founded by the parents of Joaquin Oliver, who is Manuel and Patricia. Now, Joaquin was killed in the Parkland shooting massacre that happened in 2018. Now, this is where it gets really deep.
Okay.
Now, what makes it so sad and disturbing is that the parents, his parents, Patricia and Manuel, they have, as they're going to, the senator's office.
Yeah.
They have a letter that they framed from their son.
Okay.
That they had to do in like a school project or something like that when he was younger. So now with this, the letter to Ted Cruz, and it was basically, he wrote it in 2013, it was asking, what can we do to change some of these gun laws? So I just want to read to you the letter. It's not like anything like long or anything, but I just want to read to you what the things are that are said in this letter. Okay. So this was February the 12th of 2013. Okay. And this is what the little 12-year-old Joaquin says. Dear U.S. gun owner, I am writing this letter to talk to you about how we are going to solve this gun law problem. Most of you have a problem with the idea of a universal background check. Why are you mad? Excuse me, that there's a background check. It's for you and your own good, and maybe you are fond of having crazy people with death machines. You shouldn't have anything against a background check if you were innocent. Thank you, Joaquin.
Aww.
So now, and then it was, 5 years after that, he was gunned down. Mm-hmm. So that's what's so deep about that, how all of that is. It's like basically full circle, but I'm not going to say that I'm saying that all guns should be taken away.
Yeah.
Because but the United States was built on the thing of the whole reason of saying the land of the free is because you were able to have what you wanted. Mm-hmm. Here. So, but the laws as far as how the guns are and how easy it is to access them should be. I said that should be changed, like young Joaquin was saying. Right. So that's the only thing that I have to say about that, because it's very sad. And it was and the sad thing about this, it was not even that it was the last, God, what was it? The only reason that there were 52 buses is because this year, I think it was this year or the last few years or something like that, there were 4,300 children that have been killed due to gun violence. Mm-hmm. So, that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Little innocent children, Yeah. So, I didn't want it to go dark, but I was just I thought that these parents are amazing to just be like, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's do something making art out of our
pain.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's what it really is.
Yeah.
It's their pain, and that's just, it's just heart-wrenching. And then to know that people, are thinking that, oh no, it's totally fine. It's not about the right to bear arms. I guess that's the thing. It's not about that, right?
It's you don't need a gun that the military is using overseas.
Yeah, you don't need a semi-automatic rifle for anything non-military.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
It's what would you need it for? For sport?
Exactly.
The poor animal wouldn't stand a chance. For people,
absolutely not.
Nobody would stand a chance. So therefore, it's what do you need that for? And interestingly enough, a friend of mine actually had told me that the NRA wasn't always for everybody having guns, which I didn't know that.
I didn't know.
Because when the Black Panthers were going around buying up a whole lot of guns, they were starting to be against.
Let me tell you something funny. So I did see this TikTok where this lady was just like, if y'all want to change any laws, all you have to do is have black people go and purchase whatever it is you were trying to get rid of. So if you're trying to make it to where semi-automatic rifles can no longer be a thing, have every black person in the world go ahead and go and buy multiple of those guns. And it was like, why should it change?
But
it's so true though, because it's oh no, it's fine. Whoa, wait. It's fine for us, but it's not fine for them.
Like, come on. Like, why does one black person need 100 semi-automatic rifles? But why wouldn't that be a question for any other ethnicity?
Yeah, exactly.
Or group?
Why does anyone need 100? You have
any gun.
You can a rifle. You can only hold. You have to use both arms to hold your rifle. You can only hold one at a time. Yeah. What are you going to do with 100?
And even in a zombie apocalypse, I mean, hey.
Yeah, if it's a zombie apocalypse.
How many of them can you carry to go against the zombies?
Yeah, unless your house is a fortress.
Yeah,
like it's
you're going to probably leave your home.
Like it's what's the name of that? What's the name of that show? That movie, The Purge. Unless you have a fortress like The Purge, where like your windows come down and everything, stuff like that. So if somebody breaks in, then you can be locked in this panic room with your guns. Okay, but for you to go out and take your gun anywhere, like why? There is no reason that people need to be walking around with semi-automatic rifles just because they're like, well, it's my right, I can. You can, but why? I don't understand what's the point of it. Like you can have it, walk around with it on your own property. Walk around with it in your house. Clean it.
But sometimes it's an intimidation tactic too. You know, that's the part that is kind of concerning, is that people who walk around, solely for intimidation, or like those people who walk into Walmart and they like have a gun just on their hip, and you're like, all right, I know you might have the right to conceal a weapon, but what do you think is gonna pop off?
But then you know what? How the world is now, I don't see why it's a problem for people to walk around with like a handgun on them, because this world is insane,
right? But
because of the fact that people walk around with semi-automatic weapons,
right? It doesn't also mean that just because you as a citizen kill somebody because you had that gun on you, that you might not also go to prison.
Oh no,
like so you have to know that the decision, it could have consequences as well. I feel
like if you have to go through so much to operate a vehicle, why aren't you going through the same thing to operate a gun?
And on that note, that is the end of our show, everyone.
Just throwing it out there.
They do have DMV and different things that you have to
take classes, you have to do all of this and all that. Yeah. So I just feel like if it's like that, I feel like it should be like that for multiple things. Even it doesn't matter what you want to buy. Anything that you can buy that could technically take someone's life, you should have classes or something like that you have to take for it.
Or like somebody said, guns accessible, but bullets $1,000 a bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
Things of that nature. So we're not going to solve all the world's problems.
No, we're not.
Sestra-Tainment. But we appreciate everybody listening in. Hopefully you all have a wonderful week coming up, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.
All right,
bye.